SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey. From personal banking to growing your business or buying a home, our expert guidance makes it simple. We're more than a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21.
Good Monday morning and welcome. Hope you had a great weekend. Time to start a new week, and we're glad to be with you. Glad to be with you on Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank. That's right. If you were not with us last week, you might have missed this. Community Bank is a new partner with us on Mornings with Richard Cross, and we are excited to have them on board, excited to tell you more about Community Bank and why the name fits just beautifully. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. I'm Richard Cross. Lance Tolbert is in Studio X, outside Studio X. Got some of the wet stuff falling. I was looking at the radar just a little while ago, and I was curious if we had gotten anything. I was looking at a chance of rain in North Mississippi last night, and it does not appear. I didn't sit outside all night long, but it does not appear that it dripped a drop in North Mississippi, at least where I'm sitting. Different story in our south of our famous dividing line. South of 82, Lance, it looks like it is getting after it, especially southwest of 82.
It's been nice having a little bit of drizzle.
Yeah.
It's been so dry here. I mean, I went out to the cabin Saturday, and it was, normally in the lowest of the low parts of the Delta, usually there's at least some water somewhere. In a trail or, one of those bog holes. No, sir. I mean, it is. You could drive a 18-wheeler through there in most of our trails. So, yeah, I think we needed some rain. I'm sure the farmers, too, were thinking the same thing. A lot of them were chopping stalk for the last.
I was going to say they're in harvest season or prepping for next year's season and probably like it dry. But I mean, at some point, wouldn't you like to at least just knock the dust back?
Yeah, that was a trick. Just knock the dust back just a little. And I think here, we're supposed to get some more rain, but nothing's been heavy. It's been a real light drizzle. And nothing. Just right. Yeah, just right. It's not something that ruins your day. And
you talking about farmers?
Yeah.
Don't you know that across the state of Mississippi, you've got boys and girls, men and women who have done a little bit of prepping for the upcoming deer season?
Oh, yeah.
Put out some clover, maybe put out, I don't know, rye, whatever it is.
Game mix or whatever it is.
Yeah, getting those food plots ready. And be going tonight every night saying, Lord, if I could just get a little bit of rain, that would be great.
Man,
a lot of people doing some rejoicing this morning.
Yeah, a couple of seasons in a row, and I'm not going to do it this year, but I bought millet, Japanese millet, pretty long stuff. Got out in the mud in the bayou and threw it all out around the duck blinds and everything, and boy, it would be growing beautiful. And then with no real water around, and it gets up about 6, 8, 10 inches, and all of a sudden a gully washer comes in, floods everything, and the millet's literally underwater. So I've had that. So it's just
you're like, that's not exactly what I needed to. I don't mean to be picky, but
you want it just right. But
that's right.
It just didn't work out that way. So this year I said, no, I think I'm going to hold off. Probably get a lot of water coming in at the end of September, and it won't have time to get all up. But I think I messed up this year because I think I had the time. But that's the way it rolls.
Text line is open to you this morning at 601-879-4395. Ready for your winning strategy? Here it is. Join C Spire. All the technology and support you need to succeed at home, at work, and everywhere else. Visit cspire.com today. C Spire, inspired by you. C Spire text line is open. First message this morning, don't drop your keys. That gumbo's got cracks in it 6 inches wide and 5 feet deep.
Yeah, you don't want to. You lose that, it may make it to Chinese. Those cracks are you can't see the bottom of those things, man. And those red ants that get down in them, do not let one bite you. You will have a whelp for a month.
Yeah. Como, cloudy with rain ending this afternoon for you. High of about 79 degrees. Winds out of the east and southeast. 70% chance of rain today in Como. Rainfall near 1/4 of an inch. Eupora, you've got it cloudy with a slight chance of a rain shower, high around 80. Breezier for you, though, today in Eupora with winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Vicksburg, rain showers early with isolated thunderstorms developing later in the day, high of 84. I mean, it's the 6th of October.
That's a little warm.
84. About a 50-50 shot on the rain, although I think the radar indicates to me that Vicksburg is getting the rain this morning. Past Christian, you got some rain early, mix of sun and clouds this afternoon, 82 degrees for you, with winds out of the southeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour, about a 60% chance of rain today in Pass. Tom says 2 more weeks, guys, please, before you start talking about all this rain. Just give him a little bit more time. He's got that 6-row picker going as fast as he can make it go.
Hey, buddy, this weekend I rode up to the cabin just to kind of relax, hoping to see a little bit of rain and relax on a Sunday. And I got up there. A buddy of mine met me up there, and we kind of rode around, had a good time, bought a bunch of sausage and everything. He had taken off about dark, turned on some football games, sitting out on the front porch, just kind of beautiful moon, clear sky, dark as it could be. It's perfect. Dogs sitting out there. So I'm like, all right, it's about 8:30. It's time to go throw the fire on. And I went over there and opened up the big, huge cooker we have and threw some self-starter in there, briquettes, fired it up, threw a piece of cherry wood on there. And as the fire was burning, I had to kind of pull the lid down to,
This was this past Saturday.
This was Saturday night,
okay.
yeah. So I'm sitting there just absolutely stoked. First fire of the hunting season, basically cooking on the grill first time. And so the smoke is going up into the rafters and getting behind the roofing. And I'm sitting there and I keep feeling stuff hit me because I had the lights off kind of and just sitting out there watching the Mississippi State game, and I keep feeling stuff popping me. And I'm like, I just thought it was like a big mosquitoes or something. I went and turned the lights on. 1,000 red wasps had come out of the attic as that smoke had made it up into there. Man, I got attacked. And my dogs, so I had to pack everything up and leave hurriedly Saturday night. Didn't get to cook any of my sausage. I had the pineapple. I had to connect the spicy. I had boudin. I had to shut her down. I mean, there were thousands of them. I went through 3 cans of Spectracide, dropping those things. I got hit 3 or 4 times. Dogs were upset. So, I mean, I just shutting down and heading back, man. I was so distraught and I was upset. And I was like, man. But, yeah, it was one of those types of days. So it wasn't But I healed up nicely, But I did get to execute many a wasp. That was my hunting this weekend.
Yeah, well.
Thousands of them. I mean, they just came out of nowhere, buddy.
That's rough.
Yeah, I mean, when the heat got up in there, it stirred them. I mean, hadn't had a wasp all day. Didn't even see one.
Yeah.
But no, that's not how it ended up.
American entrepreneur and engineer George Westinghouse was born this day in 1846. He was a pioneer of the electrical industry, air brakes, and the alternating current system. Founder of Westinghouse Electric, born in Central Bridge, New York. 1888. Roland Garros was born. Now, for what do you know Roland Garros?
The golf guy, right? I mean, the tennis guy, right?
If you're tennis me, dude. It's like, that's where they play the French Open. Never really thought about the fact that maybe that's named after somebody. It is. He was a French pioneering aviator, World War I pilot, big hero for the French in World War I, born in, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Anyway, Saint-Denis, Réunion.
Right, that sounds close.
I mean, it looks like St. Denis Reunion, but I'm assuming that's not exactly how the French say it. Helen Wills Moody, born in 1905, speaking of tennis, American tennis player, born in Centerville, California. 19 Grand Slam titles for Helen Wills Moody. And this young lady turned 61 today.
It's hard to believe.
Perhaps you remember her from Karate Kid or Adventures in Babysitting. Maybe it was Cocktail or Back to the Future, Part 2 or Part 3, or Leaving Las Vegas, or the poster on the wall of your bedroom. Born in Wilmington, Delaware. Elizabeth with an S. Shue, 61 today. Oh, Elizabeth Shue.
Brother Andrew Shue also.
Yeah, I don't really care about that.
He's not nearly
I mean, he's
cool
an all place guy. Between Karate Kid and Adventures in Babysitting.
I love Adventures in Babysitting.
She was the crush for, I don't know, 8 to 14-year-old Richard. Just the best. She was great. It's Allie with an I. Which is far better line than Daniel with an L. We're back after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
RC. Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's get on with the show.
Check it out. SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Sorry, I have a weak spot for the flute.
A humble request that this stays in the rotation.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I started out usually on Saturday of October, the first week, so.
I like it. I like it. You get it locked in. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Appreciate you being along with us. At Community Bank, we're more than just a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors, your partners, and your trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've been rooted in our community, helping families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. Whether it's opening your first savings account, planning for a brighter future, or growing your business, we're here every step of the way. We're dedicated to our customers, committed to your success, and always here when you need us. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC. Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Community Bank.
So I guess you know about the tournament tomorrow.
Who doesn't?
Dumb move, huh?
Not necessarily.
I don't have much of a cheering section.
Got me?
Well, I'll probably get killed in the first match anyway.
So we'll leave early.
My question, Lance, is who are the guys on the water slide?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Like, everybody else is there to play putt-putt and play video games. You got a few that they went for the water slide.
Went for the water slide, man.
Yeah.
And put them in a body bag. That's one of my. Look, I've seen that movie so many times, and for Christmas, I've got like 4 T-shirts on the Super 70s, site, and one of them is the All Valley Karate Tournament T-shirt.
Hey,
I love it, man. It's my
low key, one of the best scenes in that movie. You ready?
Yeah, I know it like the back of my hand, dude. I've seen it 1,000 times.
Low key, one of the best scenes in that movie. They're checking in at the table. They realize he doesn't have a belt. Mm-hmm. She leans over, points at the paper, pilfers a belt, hands it behind her back, and gets him into the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Just steals it,
That and you can't be back here and oh, I'm his translator. What do you say? You have uncle look like him back in Okinawa.
I love Pat Morita too. I mean, number great. 2. I like number 2 as well. It's a very good one. When they go over to
Sato.
Sato always mad. Sato mad.
This day in 1951, Joseph Stalin announced that the Soviet Union has an atomic bomb. A year later, 1952, The Mousetrap opens in London, Agatha Christie's play. Spartacus made its debut, its premiere in New York City on this day in 1960. The historical drama directed by Stanley Kubrick, starring Kirk Douglas and Laurence Olivier.
Could you have done that movie with someone without a chin like Kirk Douglas? Would the movie have been as important and iconic?
It's kind of chiseled, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he is perfect for the role.
Yeah. For the first time ever in 1979, a pope visited the White House. It was John Paul II meeting with President Jimmy Carter at the time in Washington, D.C.
I think he made him a peanut butter sandwich.
Probably.
Yeah.
This day in 1993, after 9 seasons and 3 championships with the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan announced his retirement from the NBA. There was an itch that needed scratching. But he later returned to basketball in 1995, leading the Bulls to another 3 NBA titles.
Had a few more things to prove. He said he didn't, but I think when you come back with that kind of motivation, you might have had a few things to prove.
A few. 2001, United Kingdom talent show Pop Idol, created by Simon Fuller with judges Simon Cowell and Pete Waterman, debuts, starting the worldwide Idol franchise. Still going.
Oh, man. That thing is taking on a new life.
JT Mitchell loves him some American Idol.
Yeah, Paul loved it, too. Those two went on the day where JT's in on Mondays. American Idol, they were all over it. He and I would laugh in breaks. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
2012. This was just fascinating to me more than anything that it was 2012 before a world championship existed in this. 2012, New Zealand wins the inaugural rugby championship with a 32-16 victory over South Africa. Played in Johannesburg. The undefeated All Blacks scored 4 tries to 1, with Dan Carter kicking 3 conversions, a penalty, and a drop goal. Good playing, Dan. Well done.
Seems like they've missed out, though. I mean, if 2012 was the starting point, I mean, rugby is a huge sport.
It's been around for a long time.
Yeah, it's been around a bit.
But, also in 2012, Paolo Gabriele, the butler for Pope Benedict the 16th, is found guilty of leaking confidential documents, sentenced to 18 months imprisonment.
I wonder, it's like aliens are here. What kind of confidential documents are we talking about?
I don't know. I mean,
Exactly.
there's some secret stuff that happens at the Vatican, I suppose. Finally, it was, good grief, it's been 7 years. 7 years ago, Brett Kavanaugh confirmed and sworn into the United States Supreme Court amid protests and following an FBI investigation. Man.
There's been, that confirmation for that position, is that likely the hardest one to vet, would you say, over the years? Especially since Clarence Thomas, since about then, it seems like those are extremely heated appointments,
Yeah, some more than others.
Right. The conservative ones.
Yeah.
The ones that, let's just be honest.
If we're being honest, then yes. All right, we got some news headlines for you this morning. 2 juveniles have been arrested after a former Germantown high school student was shot and killed last month in Jackson. This from DPS. On October 2nd and October 3rd, investigators with Capitol Police arrested 2 juvenile suspects and charged them with murder in connection to the homicide of 17-year-old Salah Humaid that occurred on September 19th. This was near Sunnyvale Drive in Jackson. Subjects' names are not currently being released due to the fact that they are under 18. More charges are expected to be filed. Humaid was in the area of Sunnyvale Drive and Sandalwood Place near McLeod Elementary, close to a local soccer complex. You may remember this story from a few weeks ago when we first brought it to you. Previously had been enrolled at Germantown High School in Gluckstadt. He had withdrawn in early 2025. Another follow-through on an investigation and an arrest by law enforcement in the capital Syria, this time from Capitol Police. Outstanding work to attract no good end to a tragic story like that. Mississippi welcomed 44.2 million visitors to our state in 2024. The impact generated an estimated $18.1 billion. Both numbers broke records that were set in 2023, when we had 43.7 million visitors and about $17.5 billion. So let's see here. Quick math there. That's what? Another 500,000 visitors and another 600. Is that an extra 600 million in economic impact? Yeah, it is. Wow. Those decimals and the numbers after them mean lots of money when you're talking about big numbers.
Yeah, I worked in tourism for a while. It's a huge industry here in the state, and seeing that kind of growth it speaks volumes because people, you got to have something for them to do when they're coming through town or coming through your state, or at least promoting it well. I think we're doing a lot better job of kind of pulling the dots together and showing people that Mississippi is a package. There's so much to do here. Yep. You got to be good at promoting that. I think we're getting better at that.
44 million visitors, spent $12 billion, an increase 3% year over year. The top sources of spending: food and beverage, lodging and recreation, followed by retail. The $18 billion economic impact supported 136,000 jobs, 1 in 13 in the state of Mississippi, and provided $4.5 billion in labor income for Mississippians. Visitor activity generated an estimated $2 billion in government revenue. State and local taxes alone topping $1 billion, allowing for additional investment in education, infrastructure, and public services. That is according to officials. Obviously, some of the big tourism events in the state that generate revenue: Cruising the Coast, the Mississippi State Fair, the Double-Decker Arts Festival, Bulldog Bash, the Sanderson Farms Championship. Ole Miss football in 2024 had a $325 million economic impact due to a record number of people visiting Oxford and attending home games this year. We got more news headlines plus some sports headlines coming up for you on the other side of this timeout. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
From the Seabrook.
He's got everything you need to know to start your day. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, supertalk.fm, and the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Now, here's more with Richard Cross.
Good morning once again to you. If you're just joining us, thanks. Appreciate you being here and being part of the conversation on this Monday morning, the 6th of October, start of a new week. I'm curious if people have already started thinking. I mean, I understand that people have started thinking about Halloween, but what are the plans going to be for Halloween this year? And I ask that because where I live, Lance,
it's a party.
Well, it's not just that it's a party.
People come from all over.
It's on Friday night.
Yeah.
Of a home football weekend.
Oh, goodness.
Which feels like it could either create
electricity or
one of the all-time
negative
epic Halloweens or a disaster of unmatched epic proportions.
I'm with you, man. I lived there for 21 years, and that was one of the coolest things in North Mississippi to me annually was the way Oxford embraces Halloween and the city itself. I mean, well, you got so many people with so many nice homes and all that, and people come. Kids love it. They come from all over to come to Oxford. So I'm with you. I mean, it turns into an anthill pretty quick. But during a football game, oh my God, that's going to be a trip.
Yeah. I mean, it just feels like up and down North Lamar and South Lamar where so many kids trick or treat with the added traffic of feels like a.
You think the Washington State folks will bring a bunch of apples to hand out?
No, that's South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over at the Washington State's this weekend.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking.
We're not to Halloween yet. Man, it's only the 6th. We got like 3 weeks to get ready for this.
If we snap our fingers, we'll probably be there.
Yeah, it's going to feel like that. The Democratic National Committee is stepping in and trying to help candidates win special legislative elections right here in Mississippi starting next month. Actually, the elections are next month. It's starting right now on Thursday of last week. The DNC announced a historic investment to support the Mississippi Democratic Party's organizing efforts ahead of a general election in November 4th that includes 14 seats. Primaries were held in August after a federal panel of judges ordered lawmakers to redraw House districts in the Chickasaw County area, along with Senate districts in the Hattiesburg and DeSoto County areas that were diluting black voting power. The announcement did not disclose exactly how much money the DNC is investing in the races, but Ken Martin, the chair of the Mississippi DNC, said that it is a six-figure number. When you organize everywhere, you can win everywhere. That is my mantra, and that's why we're investing six figures into Mississippi in an off year. At this DNC, we aren't simply focused on battleground states or one single election cycle. We can chew gum while we walk, and that means building for both the short and long term by creating new opportunities for Democrats to win elections everywhere. Again, that's Ken Martin. Of the 14 districts redrawn by lawmakers, 7 of the general races are contested with a Democrat and a Republican. 3 more seats, 2 in the Senate, 1 in the House, are up for grabs, with John Horn and Orlando Payton becoming mayors of Jackson and Clarksdale, and then Greenwood's David Jordan deciding to retire after over 3 decades in the Capitol. Absentee voting opened last week for in-person and mail-in ballots. Deadline to register to vote or update your registration is today. Today. If you want to vote in this election, you got to be registered by today. What an interesting case study. Democrats not known for investing money in Mississippi. They laud it as a historic investment into Mississippi politics without saying how much money it is. And remember, this is money coming directly from the DNC. And so, the reason I say an interesting case study, if Democrats win some of these seats and it feels like that investment pays off, you're going to see more of it in the future. Or are they going to look at this exercise as whizzing in the wind? The moon will appear slightly larger and slightly brighter tonight during what's known as a supermoon. October's supermoon is the first of 3 this year. Happens when a full moon is closer to Earth in its orbit. That makes the moon look up to 14% bigger and 30% brighter. The subtle difference happens a few times a year, sometimes coinciding with other astronomical events such as lunar eclipses. The moon will pass within about 225,000 miles of the Earth. Closest supermoon of the year coming up in November. Then there's one more in December. But then 2026 is going to be quite the lunar year. A total eclipse across much of North America coming next year. And then a partial one over into the summer. We'll try to keep you up to date with the lunar calendar. Lance will put it on his
I'm on
calendar
top
to
of
make
that.
sure that it stays on your calendar.
I am on top of it.
Time for sports headlines brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online, pearlriverresort.com. Your home for family fun, casino thrills, and live entertainment. Well, before the Bees or the Wasps started chasing him, Lance was watching this ball game. I was watching it as well. KC Concepcion. I was watching it from about 35,000 feet. Caught 2 touchdown passes, and number 6 Texas A&M dominated on defense for a second consecutive week, beating Mississippi State 31-9. The Aggies improved to 5-0 for the first time since the 2016 campaign. They are off to a 2-0 start in SEC play. Bulldogs still looking for their first SEC win in Jeff Levy's tenure. They held a 3-0 lead for most of the first half. The slow-starting Aggies finally got on the scoreboard with a minute 51 remaining in the second quarter on a 34-yard touchdown catch from Concepcion. He caught Marcel Reed's pass at the 5-yard line and then carried cornerback Kelly Jones into the end zone. Aggies added another touchdown late in the third quarter to make it 14-3. Mississippi State had a fourth-quarter touchdown late in the ball game following the early field goal. Bad snap, didn't get the extra point up. Texas A&M limited Auburn last week and Mississippi State this week to a combined 1 for 23 on third down. The Aggies rushed for 299 yards on Saturday night, which is 80 more than Mississippi State collected in total offense. Reuben Owens led the way with 142 yards, 108,572. 108,572, the fifth largest crowd in the history of Kyle Field. They had a blackout, and it looked great. That place is loud, loud, loud. State was 1 of 10 on third down. 142 yards total through the air for Mississippi State. On the ground, just 77 yards. It was dominant. It really was. And Mississippi State's defense kept them in that ball game. I mean, that opening, or I guess it was their second possession of the game. They just drove methodically down the field. Boom, 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 boom. Looks like they're going to stick it in the end zone. They have the false start on 3rd and 1 with Kamario Taylor in the ball game, moves them back to 3rd and 6. They bring Chapin in. He has to throw it away. They kick the field goal, and boom, that's it. Texas A&M they're really, really good. And if you haven't watched them yet, you hadn't really locked in on A&M, weren't sure what that was going to look like, they're really good.
Slow starting offense, but if you can jump on them early, maybe. But their defense is strong, baby. Yeah. That was impressive to watch. Mm-hmm. So if you don't take advantage of them early, I think that they're like a snowball rolling downhill. They're just going to get stronger as it goes. Some teams, are just built that way.
Yeah, you're right. Other scores from around the SEC: Oklahoma 44-0 over Kent State in the first game without John Mateer. Had the hand injury a couple of weeks ago. Florida upset Texas 29-21, knocking the 9th-ranked Longhorns out of the top 25. Second loss of the year for the Horns. Bama got a little payback against Vanderbilt, 30-14 the final. Crimson Tide and Ty Simpson rolling at home on Saturday evening. And Georgia no trouble with Kentucky bouncing back from a loss a couple of weeks ago. 35-14 Dogs over the Cats. I have a little bit more in terms of sports headlines after this timeout. Your sports headlines are brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's do it.
Super Talk Mississippi.
Appreciate you being with us. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at SuperTalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. The show's presented by Community Bank. Rooted in our community, communitybank.net. No jackpot winner over the weekend for Powerball. The estimated jackpot for tonight's drawing, $207 million, with an estimated cash value of $96.9 million. There was also no winner on Friday night for Mega Millions, which means tomorrow night when those ping pong balls pop up, somebody could be walking away with an estimated jackpot of $547 million, which has a cash value of $251,700,000. The numbers for that from Friday night were 18, 19, 38, 54, and 57 with a mega ball of 19. Lottery Claims Office last week paid out a little over $331,000. Retailers, as seems to be the case, they were at about $4.7 million. That number seems to just kind of settle in between 4.5 and 5. Just about every week. So you can count on the fact that north of $4 million is going to be paid out by retailers across the state of Mississippi every single week. That's your lottery update from the Mississippi Lottery, online at mslottery.com. Promised you a couple more sports headlines. Somebody sent us a message. Larry and Mize, didn't Mississippi State lose their best running back, that Booth guy? It was actually the other one, Larry. It was Fluff Bothwell, who had what appeared to be a serious ankle injury. Leg injury, we probably should call it more generally. I don't think Mississippi State has released any information as to the extent of that injury yet. It looked bad. He had to be taken off on a cart. Certainly you hope the best. I was kind of joking when I did it, but I guess it was the week before, or maybe it was while camp was going on. I was with the boys one afternoon on Sports Talk. I said, I'm going to make a decree. I want to say this once and for all: no injuries before the season starts. Like, I'm just making an executive decision. We're not going to have any injuries during practice. Obviously, it's not something you control, but these guys work so hard, put in so many hours, so much time when nobody's watching to be able to perform under those lights, and it's just heartbreaking when it looks like it comes to an end. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's not as bad as it looked for Fluff Bothwell. There's a new top 25 out. Came out about lunchtime yesterday. I think 1 o'clock officially when the AP poll comes out. Ohio State stays put at number 1. Miami, with an impressive win over Florida State, leapfrogs Oregon and goes to number 2. Oregon drops a spot. They didn't do anything wrong. It's just Miami's win was impressive. Ole Miss didn't play. They stay put at 4. A&M up a spot to 5. Oklahoma down a spot to 6. Indiana moves up a spot to 7. Bama jumps 2 spots to 8. Texas Tech 9. Georgia 10. Also up 2 spots. Rest of the SEC. By the way, 9 SEC teams in the top 25. LSU at 11, up 2. Tennessee at 12, up 3. Missouri at 14, up 5 for Missouri. We're going to find out this week with Mizzou. Vandy drops 4 after their loss to Alabama, down to number 20. And then a couple of teams making their top 25 debut for the season this week. Memphis at 23, off to a 6-0 start. South Florida at 24. They are a 4-1 team. And I guess they were ranked earlier this year. So Mississippi State still in that others receiving votes category. What else we got? NFL, Major League Baseball. Oh, this Deion Sanders story, tough. Deion Sanders says he was hurting like crazy after Colorado's loss against TCU, and he believes it's because he has more blood clots in his leg. Cat's out of the bag, all right. I think I've got more blood clots, Sanders told the press after the game. It don't make sense. I'm hurting like crazy. I'm not getting blood to my leg. That's why my leg is throbbing. Said this when asked about it after a game in Colorado's 35-21 loss to TCU on Saturday night. Has a doctor's appointment today. You may remember Sanders spent time away from the Buffaloes this past summer as he underwent treatment for bladder cancer. Doctor said before the season he was cured from that with a section of his intestine being reconstructed to function as a bladder. Pro Football Hall of Famer, who also played in the big leagues, has struggled with his left foot since having 2 toes amputated in 2021 because of blood clot issues. That's when he was at Jackson State. He also missed Pac-12 Media Day in 2023 after a procedure to remove a blood clot from his right leg and another to straighten toes on his left foot. It has been tough from a health situation for a while now for Coach Prime.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Since you're up early, you get the news first. Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
This morning feeling fine, had something special on my mind. Last night I met a new girl in the neighborhood. Oh yeah. Something tells me I'm into something good. Something tells me I'm into something. She's the kind of girl.
Good to be with you. Thanks for joining us. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. Thanks for joining us. Hope your day is off to a good start. Feels like a great day to have a great day, Lance. What do you say?
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I got to watch. I watched the new Naked Gun this weekend, and I'm a junkie. Yeah, that's why I threw that song in there. I also have the Naked Gun theme song for you lined up. But the new Liam Neeson, not bad. The chili dog scene. If anybody has watched it yet, that's the best part. That's the best part. That's the climax. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
And then the clips at the end are great. But
This hour of Mornings with Richard Cross brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services, plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today at 601-206-7966 or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. You're a Naked Gun junkie.
Oh, God, yeah. Leslie Nielsen? Come on, man. There's no better comedic actor on the planet than him, especially the deadpan. Just, I don't know how to describe it. Much missed, but Liam Neeson plays his son. And George Kennedy, who passed away, obviously, his quote-unquote son is Frank Drebin Jr.'s partner. So it's actually good. Pamela Anderson is the love interest in it, so that ought to spice it up a little bit. She does a great job, by the way.
Yeah?
But yeah, I would be lying if I didn't tell you the truth about Naked Gun. I will watch them anytime they're on, man. Anytime I need a laugh or a smile, I'm like, all right, Leslie, you're my guy.
C-Spire text line is open to you, 601-879-4395. Every sports fan can tell you fast speeds win games. It's why C-Spire brings you fiber home internet, nationwide wireless at 5G speeds and IT solutions that move as fast as your business. Learn more at cspire.com. C-Spire, inspired by you. Well, the states of Oregon and Illinois are pushing back via judges on the Trump administration's bid to send the National Guard in. They say there's no problem here. We have nothing going on, nothing wrong. Federal judge late yesterday. By the way, when did judges' hours become Sunday at 7 o'clock in the p.m.? Because I feel like if I needed a judge and it was outside, Monday through Friday between 9 and about 5, probably 3 on Friday. I feel like I would have to wait until Monday. But you've got a lot of achieving judges out there that are more than happy to come in on a Sunday when necessary. Federal judge late on Sunday temporarily blocked the Trump administration from deploying any National Guard units to Oregon at all after a legal whirlwind that began hours earlier when the president mobilized California troops for Portland after the same judge blocked him from using Oregon's National Guard the day before. During a hastily called evening telephone hearing. Didn't even have to go to the courtroom. We can just do this over the phone. Judge Karen Immergut granted a temporary restraining order sought by California and Oregon. Now, Immergut was actually appointed by President Trump during his first term. She seemed incredulous that the president moved to send National Guard troops to Oregon from neighboring California and then from Texas just hours after she had ruled the first time that he couldn't mobilize Oregon's National Guard. She questioned the federal government's attorney, cutting him off, saying, how could bringing in federalized National Guard from California not be in direct contravention to the temporary restraining order I issued yesterday? Aren't defendants simply circumventing my order? Why is this appropriate? Oregon is fighting to prevent federalized National Guard troops from coming to Oregon's largest city to address ongoing protests at the ICE immigration processing facility. The AP writes, small protests have been going on outside the Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility since Trump's second term began in January. Occasional flare-ups, including back in June, but for weeks, nightly demonstrations attracted only a few dozen people. However, they say Trump has turned his attention to the city, calling Portland war-ravaged and a war zone that is burning down and like living in hell. Now, local officials in Portland have said, hey, this protest is occupying one city block away from downtown in a city that covers 145 square miles. And they say that some of his claims and social media posts appear to rely on images from 2020. When Trump also sent federal law enforcement to the city. Under a new mayor and police chief, the city has reduced crime, and the downtown has seen a decrease in homeless encampments and increased foot traffic. Have you watched some of the videos from Portland?
Yeah, it's doesn't look fun, but it is that city block. I understand that somebody's right and somebody's wrong here. Either it's violent and there's a war zone, or it's not. I don't know. I only can see what I've watched on Twitter and other places, and if those are current, I would imagine that needs to be cleaned up. But it doesn't look as peaceful at times as some of them claim. But again, I'm relying on images and video from a party I'm not aware of who provided it.
And look, I do not like federalizing the National Guard willy-nilly for domestic operations. But you know what else I don't like? Is when a local police department not only chooses not to enforce the law, but they encourage what looks like anarchy. The way that ICE agents have been treated in the last 6 months is just absolutely despicable. Now, there are a lot of people that complain, well, they're wearing masks. I don't really know why they're wearing masks. Maybe because they're being doxxed every time they turn around. Some of the stuff that's going on that is allowing the opposition, Antifa, in many cases, to find out where ICE patrols are, where they are going, try to get orders into place, or I'm sorry, not orders, but try to get information in place to warn those who are here illegally to hide or run or get out of the way, boxing in unmarked vehicles, In some cases, running them off the road, fighting back, ignoring orders from law enforcement. Man, what country are we living in? Somebody
We're a country of laws.
Text line says,
follow the rules.
Says just claim they're there for COVID. The left shouldn't have any problem with it. That's what the masks are for.
Or, I mean, as you said, they're getting targeted. So, I mean, the truth being, the one pill that doesn't want to be swallowed is, I mean, you're targeting ICE agents. So, I mean, these are federal agents, and that is against the law. Whether you like the rules or not, that's against the law.
Yeah. You've got the governor of Oregon and the governor of California who are openly fighting back against this. C-Spire text line, a part of me says that Trump should just let those blue cities and blue states burn since the people of those cities elected those Democrats, but also I know he's not going to sit idly by and watch it happen. At least he's doing his best. That's all one can ask for at this point. And there are others that say he is simply overstepping his authority. And that's what the court agreed with, at least for this point. The updates out of Memphis, by the way, since the federal task force has come into place, Memphis Safe Task Force, I think it's what they're calling it. All they've done is arrest 300 people in less than a week, including Trinde Aragua, gang members, those who are carrying weapons while out on bail, probably cashless bail in most cases. Gotten a couple of child rapists they've arrested. And there are people that are in Memphis that say, hey, it's only been a week, but it feels safer than it did. That the increased law enforcement presence has led to a safer feeling within the communities. Coming up next, Douglas Carswell will join us. He's president and CEO of the Mississippi Center for Public Policy. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
I'm alright. Nobody but about me. Why you got to give me a fight? Can't you just let it be? I'm alright. Don't nobody but about me.
Once again, good morning and welcome. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. Glad to have you along for the ride on this 6th day of October. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we will visit with Steve Jent, Executive Director of the Sanderson Farms Championship. We'll get a recap of the Sanderson Farms Championship from this past weekend. What a finish in that tournament. JT Mitchell from the SuperTalk News team will be by at the end of the 8 o'clock hour as well. But right now, Douglas Carswell joins us.
Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Mississippi.
Douglas, good morning to you as well. We talked about this story during news headlines this morning a little bit. The DNC is stepping in and trying to help candidates win in the special legislative elections that are coming up next month in Mississippi. We've got 14 seats between the House and the Senate that are open, and a pretty significant influx of money looks like it's going to happen here in Mississippi with some of these local races across the state. And this is a little bit of a departure from the norm for Democrats. Mississippi, not a normally place that gets much national money from the DNC.
Let's talk about a six-figure sum coming in, quite a significant investment. Is
it? I mean, in political circles, is that a significant investment, or is it just significant for the DNC because of their lack of spending?
It's significant because I don't think they've put serious money into Mississippi Democrat efforts before. You're right. It's not a huge amount when it comes to these things. But what I think is interesting is, we've got these 10 or so special elections in the Senate. The Supreme Court intervened and basically said you've got to redraw your district boundaries. You've got to have a system where the voters can choose the representatives rather than the representatives choosing the voters. So we've got to have these special elections. This, I think, is a real test as to whether or not the Democrats in this state are viable. I mean, they've not had a great run recently. They've not really got their act together. And I think it's significant that you're seeing outside money coming in to see if they can actually get their act together. I mean, it would tell you a lot if they couldn't. They're pretty shambolic, and I say that as someone who wants there to be a competitive two-party system. I think it's good for public policy if you've got an effective opposition. But at the moment, we don't really seem to have an effective opposition, and it'll be key to see whether they can get their act together in this election.
I'm wondering if this is a bit of a litmus test for the DNC as well. Obviously, Mississippi, a deeply red state in the southern part of the country, and I'm wondering if looking at, hey, we'll see how this goes in Mississippi and then make decisions in the future about where else we invest in deep red states.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you are looking at the Democrats nationally, you've got to do better in states like Mississippi. You've got to do better in the South. You've got to be competitive. And I suspect this is a pilot program, if you think of it like that, where they're looking to see if they can begin to be competitive. They ought to be competitive in some of these seats. And according to reports, some of the spending is on what you might call the basics of political campaigning, creating databases and lists and digital advertising. It's pretty basic stuff. So I suspect what they're doing is they're looking to see this as this investment between now and November as whether or not they should invest for the future and build for the future. But as I say, they've not had a great record, the local homegrown Democrats in Mississippi. They've struggled, I think, sometimes to find talent. They've struggled to hold on to some of the talent they've got. Some of the most effective Democrats, some of the people that I've found most effective have actually left the Democrats recently. So I think this is very much testing the water to see if the Democrats can be competitive in Mississippi.
We got a little bit of a taste of this not too terribly long ago when on the coast you had a local mayor's election, and Stacey Abrams and group out of Georgia became involved, and some others did. And I guess that election ended up being closer than it would have been otherwise, but it was still a fairly convincing victory on the coast.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype and a lot of effort put in, but they I'm not sure that the Democrats have yet found the formula. I mean, if you take the bigger picture, the statewide, some of the contests there, we tend to assume that they're fairly comfortable wins for Republicans, but actually some of the numbers are quite tight. And I suspect someone somewhere in Washington in the Democrat Party is looking to see if they can build now with ultimately the goal of seeing if they can be competitive at statewide contests. Because, as I said, the numbers are not, it's not a slam dunk for Republicans in this state. We might think it is, but I think that reflects the fact that the Republicans have been very competitive. But particularly if you go into a midterm election, and Trump's not on the ballot, or, you start to see some economic hardship, the effect of tariffs starts to bite, then I think you might suddenly find that some of the things that you assume are solidly red become a little bit less obviously red. And I think that's what this is about. They're ultimately looking to see if they can be competitive in Mississippi statewide.
Yeah, and in that race for the Gulfport mayor position, you had Hugh Keating, who ended up winning with 53% of the vote. He was challenged by Sonia Williams-Barnes. And when you look at a 6-point margin in a mayor's race, that's not a significant number of votes. I remember Hugh Keating talking to us about the fact that the key was turnout, and they really, really pushed hard for turnout. And Keating's voters turned out enough to make sure that ultimately he won that race. You touched on that a second ago. Historically, when you're looking at midterm elections or off-year elections or special elections in this case, turnout is not very good. Yep. Is it that simple in these races?
It can be. I mean, I've run elections in a different context in another part of the world. I ran a national election, and turnout is really the key. Motivating your side to go and vote is really the difference between winning and losing in some of these tight contests. The issue, I think, is as you get closer to the midterms, if you're a Republican strategist, you're not aided by the fact that you've got Joe Biden in the White House. I think Joe Biden in the White House helped get people to come out and vote Republican in states like Mississippi. If you don't have that, if you don't have the Democrats in control in D.C., if you don't have Trump on the ballot, I think turnout becomes an issue. And the other side, if the other side can mobilize turnout, and I think that's what really their funding for November the 4th is all about, if they can galvanize and increase their turnout, suddenly, 53% doesn't seem like a big margin. It becomes competitive.
Yeah. Douglas, it's interesting. We've seen this before, and we've seen it be somewhat effective for Democrats, primarily under George Soros through his Open Society foundations. Mm-hmm. They have targeted judicial races and district attorney races across the country, sometimes in places that are more traditionally red than blue, and have had success. And we are seeing that as, you look across the country and you see so many rulings that seem to be partisan in nature coming from Democrat judges. Mm-hmm. And obviously some of the crime issues are related to DAs that are not prosecuting, even after arrests are made. So there is at least a little bit of a track record for effectiveness in this strategy. You
can see the consequences of the Soros strategy in the runaway crime statistics in urban America. It, I think, has been an absolute calamity. I sometimes wonder if George Soros and his sons sit there and think, are we the good guys? We spent all this money to create a system in which there is no administration of justice and, frankly, some slightly lunatic decisions are taken. But whatever they think about it, what does the rest of America think about it? You see big money going in with an agenda and achieving results. They may be bad results, but they're achieving results. And I think we've got to be very wary. I mean, it's a free country. If people want to spend their dollars supporting a particular candidate, great. But I think voters need to be very aware of who is putting this money in, who is funding some of these candidates. And I'm not sure that having money from an organization like the Open Society and Soros dollars, I think if voters knew about that, I think that would motivate them to vote against it. It's not been a very happy track record of Soros-backed DAs in America.
Well, and this is unique in the fact that this is money that's actually coming from the DNC, not coming from private organizations or political action committees, and so that's a little bit of a shift. And we said six figures. 6 figures could be $100,000, or it could be $999,000, and there is a significant difference in those two in terms of the ability to get into television and really get the marketing piece of it out there.
I would guess, and I'm not linked to the people running the campaign, but I'd guess there's been a pretty shambolic effort at running elections in the past, and this is a serious attempt by the DNC nationally to come in and see if they can get this done effectively and properly. But if you want to see good public policy in Mississippi, having a Democrat Party that is effective and that believes in things like school choice and believes in a credible alternative, that's surely good for Mississippi. It doesn't do our state any favors to have an essentially dysfunctional Democrat Party, which is what we've got at the moment.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. The special elections right at a month away. Douglas, always appreciate your time. Good to visit with you this morning.
Thanks, Richard.
Douglas Carswell, President and CEO with the Mississippi Center for Public Policy. We got more coming up with you. We're back on the other side of this timeout. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
From the Seabrook.com Talk, Mississippi.
This is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi and the Super Talk app.
Good to be with you on this Monday morning. I don't know if it's like this all over the state, but a lot of kids where I am in North Mississippi have fall break this week. There's no fall break when we were in school.
No,
right?
I think they just got started. I mean, what are we, 5 weeks into football season? Got to have a break.
Yeah. It's as school districts have gone to different calendars. You've got some that are year-round calendars with about a month break in the summer. Some are a little bit different than where I live, like the Oxford School District and the Lafayette School District have gone to what they call a hybrid calendar. So it's not quite as long in the summer, but then they add some shorter breaks in through the school year. So if you've got kids that are on fall break, congratulations to them. If that is throwing you for a loop, sorry about that. Hope you get through the week okay. Or maybe you're taking a little time off as well. So hope you enjoy it. So you perhaps remember that just a few weeks ago, Jim Comey, the former FBI director, was indicted by the Department of Justice. The charges of 2 felony counts stem from Comey's testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee in September of 2020. During that testimony, he affirmed his earlier 2017 statements that he had not authorized anyone at the FBI to serve as an anonymous source to the media regarding the Russia investigation or the Hillary Clinton email probe. The indictment alleges that this statement by Comey was false, contradicting testimony from former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, said Comey did give such authorization. The indictment of Comey followed Trump's firing of the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, Eric Seibert, who reportedly was hesitant to charge Comey. Trump then installed Lindsay Halligan into that role, who secured the indictment despite lacking prior prosecutorial experience and facing pushback from some career prosecutors. Now, Comey, for his part, continues to deny the charges, as you would expect, and says, quote, "I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I am innocent, so let's have a trial." His arraignment is scheduled for later this week, October 9th, in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia. Legal experts, former prosecutors, have expressed skepticism about the case, citing weaknesses and the overt political pressure from Trump to pursue the charges. So what do the facts say? Dan Bongino, Deputy Director of the FBI, was on a couple of days ago with the crew from Fox and Friends and said, among other things, "I don't want you to trust me. I want you to trust the evidence." Take a listen.
I got to tell you, of all the things that have surprised me in the close to now 3 months I've been here is the depravity of Jim Comey. This man is a disgrace to the badge, the FBI, and the country. What he's doing right now, one, going out and me taking shots at Cash. Cash doesn't belong. Cash was the chief of staff at the Department. Cash is a patriot. Cash has served in numerous high-level roles, taking personal shots while you're on the beach, implying a threat towards the president and blaming your wife about it. And let me just add about James Comey, Saint Comey, who walks around there moralizing to everyone how wonderful of a human being he is. What you said is absolutely accurate. We have wasted countless man hours now running out tips to our tip line about people putting 8647 because of Jim Comey, because he cannot control himself and his emotions. He is a child. He is a big child. And let me tell you one more thing. Look at Jim Comey, who wants you to believe. Jim Comey taking a shot at the president. Oh, look at me. I'm such a victim. The president's going after me. He's making a ton of money on this book. The only person that got prosecuted was the president. Jim Comey, we're finding stuff even now.
That's Dan Bongino. What shocked me the most is the depravity of James Comey. Wait till you read the stuff that comes out. So that actually brings up a really interesting question. Does the Justice Department have more than we know about right now? If there was a hesitation by the former U.S. attorney in Virginia to bring those charges. Is this new information that the FBI or the DOJ has uncovered? This goes back a long time, right? The indictment is the latest chapter in this long-running public dispute between Jim Comey and Donald Trump, dating back to his handling of the investigations while he was director of the FBI from 2013 to 2017. You had the Hillary Clinton email investigation, Comey announcing that the FBI would not recommend charges in July of 2016 against Hillary Clinton for her use of a private email server as Secretary of State, though he called Clinton and her aides extremely careless. And then just 11 days before the election in 2016, Comey publicly disclosed that the FBI had found new emails potentially relevant to the investigation. And then 2 days before the election said, the emails don't really change our original conclusion. And, of course, Hillary Clinton and others have said that was a big part of the reason that she lost that election to Donald Trump. Then there was the 2017 Russia election interference investigation. In March of 2017, Comey publicly confirmed that the FBI was investigating possible ties between Russia and the Trump presidential campaign. Then in May of 2017, after being elected president, Donald Trump fired Jim Comey. He was only 4 years into what was to be a 10-year term as director of the FBI. The Trump administration initially cited Comey's handling of the Clinton investigation, but later publicly stated that the Russia thing was on Trump's mind when he fired Comey. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appointed Robert Mueller as special counsel to take over the Russia investigation. That lasted forever and went nowhere. But some of what we have seen post-FBI Comey, according to a report from the Inspector General and memos that have been uncovered, Comey has leaked memos detailing his private conversations with Trump to a friend who then shared those with the press. Inspector General from the Justice Department found that Comey had violated FBI policies in doing so, but declined to prosecute him. And then he got good and mad in July of this year when his daughter, Maureen Comey, was fired from her position as a federal prosecutor in New York. She has since filed a lawsuit saying that the firing was politically motivated. And one of the things that Bongino was talking about there was you remember the walk on the beach where Comey found the shell formation that said 8647? He's like, hey, honey, what could that mean? Wow, where did those come from? He posted the picture online. And if you've ever worked in the service industry or been around the service industry, you know that 86 is a term used for kill it. I have eaten at Proud Larry's before, as I know you have as well. And Lance, you know the big chalkboard on the wall, on the back wall to the left of the kitchen before you go up the stairs, there's a big board that shows the specials. And when they're out of a special, they put 86 it up there, which means kill it. We got no more of this. Don't continue to serve it. Don't continue to offer it to our guests. Let them know it's no longer available. We got to kill that special. And of course, 47 is the designation for Donald Trump as the 47th president, in addition to being the 45th president. And James Comey, who there is no doubt, is a smart guy. He's politically savvy. He's politically connected. You don't become director of the FBI if you're dumb. Like, you can listen to him talk and know this is not a dumb person. But, man, he played dumb after the 86-47 shell game. Oh, I didn't know that's what that meant. How long did it take you when you saw that he posted online to know exactly what 8647 meant.
Not long. I mean,
but a smart guy like James Comey, he had no idea.
No,
it's just some shells.
Oh, and it's just a target on him too now. And his family. He's done nothing.
Yeah, I have no doubt, and I don't think you do either, that the reason his daughter was fired was now. She was not terribly effective in her role as a prosecutor, but if she had a different last name, I'm not sure that she would have been fired. We'll see where that case goes. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
On your radio, on our app, or on your smart speaker. We're always free. SuperTalk, Mississippi. Your home for Mornings with Richard Cross.
Land, no desert sand, the sun is just a dot, and a little bit of water goes a long way, 'cause it's hot. 3 good buddies were laughing and smoking in the back.
C-Spire text line open to you, 601-879-4395. This is Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. Glad to have you along on this Monday morning. Do you remember when, good grief, it's only been a couple of weeks ago, the United Nations was in session. It was the day that Donald Trump was speaking. You had the escalator malfunction and you had the teleprompter malfunction. But there was another story, and there was so much going on at the time, Lance, that it really didn't get a lot of coverage. And it was the story about the discovery of and seizure of SIM cards and servers. And it was about 25 miles, I think, from where the United Nations is headquartered in Manhattan. And it was this treasure trove of electronics that, at least in theory, had the ability to significantly disrupt, if not completely disable, the entire cell network and cell tower system within New York City. A report from ABC News this weekend says a thwarted plot to cripple the telecom system in New York was bigger than investigators first realized, adding to the urgency of their search for answers. Federal agents discovered additional locations and more equipment as they worked to determine the ultimate goal of what the U.S. Secret Service says was a China-linked plot that could have crippled every cell tower in the nation's largest city, jammed 911 calls, and unleashed chaos on the communications network. Agents from HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, found an additional 200,000 SIM cards at a location in New Jersey. That's double the 100,000, along with hundreds of servers that were recently seized at 5 other vacant offices and apartments in and around the city. Investigators secured each of those locations, seized the electronics, and are now trying to track down who rented the spaces and filled them with shelves full of gear capable of sending 30 million anonymous text messages every minute, overloading communications and blacking out cellular service in a city that relies on it for emergency response and counterterrorism. And again, maybe we're at fault, maybe others are at fault, but this was somewhat of an underreported story that is a huge deal. So you got to connect the dots a little bit to make it make sense, right? There is an increasing level of concern that a homeland attack is imminent in the United States. That there are terror cells that are here, many of which got here through an open borders policy in the previous administration, that they have set up camp and they're just waiting for their orders. And that's a really scary thing, but you're like, okay, yeah, but what does a coordinated attack look like? And while we don't exactly know the answer to this should be pretty scary. We talk sometimes, or we hear sometimes, about soft targets. Those soft targets in the United States are the electrical grid, our water system, and now our cellular communication system. So when you say 100,000 SIM cards, you're like, okay, what is a SIM card? That's the little micro card that goes in my phone, or at least used to go in my phone before we had virtual SIM cards. And that's like what allowed my phone to connect to the network that then connects to the world. And so you had Secret Service discovering initially 100,000 of these SIM cards with all of these electronics and hardware in place. And that number's really scary that you saw at the end of that report. The ability to send out 30 million anonymous text messages per minute. So what does that do? Well, if you can't communicate by phone, emergency response can't work, 911 gets taken off the rails, and that goes along with some sort of a coordinated attack domestically. Scary to even think about. It's really, really scary to think about. We'll keep an eye on this story and so many others. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Steve Jent will join us coming up next.
Where you come first for news. Fast and free. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi, presented by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey. Looking to manage your personal finances, our banking services make it simple, secure, and tailored to you. Ready to grow your business? We offer expert guidance and custom solutions to help your business thrive. Dreaming of a new home? Our mortgage specialists are here to make the process seamless, all designed with you in mind. We're more than just a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Glad to be with you this morning. An incredible finish yesterday at the Sanderson Farms Championship, the culmination of not just a week, but months of preparation and planning, and a whole bunch of volunteers and a lot of staff members, everybody coming together. Great weather and a whole lot more. Steve Jent is Executive Director of the Sanderson Farms Championship. He joins us live this morning. Steve, congratulations on a great tournament.
Thanks. I just heard everything you said. Yeah, it was a great week. I mean, we obviously had Chamber of Commerce weather all week long. Everybody seemed to be having so much fun. I mean, concessions, merchandise. You know, I know there's a lot of activity all over the golf course. You know, people everywhere are watching golf. And we got a great champion, Stephen Fisk. So it was a phenomenal week.
Anybody, Steve, that has played golf, you, me, Stephen Fisk, Tiger Woods, when they can walk off the golf course with a birdie finish, they're certainly going to want to go back another day. And when it results in a trophy and a great big check, it's even more special for a first-time winner, Stephen Fisk.
Yeah, I mean, I think before the last 5 holes, shot a 64, which was the lowest round of the day amongst everyone. First win, 14th first-time winner, I think, this season. He, played really well, and he won in only his 24th start on tour. And Yeah, I just think the golf yesterday was great. It was between him and Garrett kind of coming down the stretch there. There's a lot going on. But, it was really exciting golf all week. A lot of the names came up, and Max Homa played well. Kind of lost in all this is Zach Johnson shot a 30 on the back nine yesterday. And, so he's still one of the best players in the world. And it was just phenomenal golf amongst the field. We tell everybody it's 132 of the best players in the world. And they really proved it this week.
Steve, everybody loves star power, regardless of the sport. And there are some massive names in the world of golf. But you talk about a first-time winner, and when you build out your field, you've got major champion winners, you've got Ryder Cup participants from as early as just a week ago, so many big names that are household names. But you talk about 132 of the best players in the world, and the truth of the matter is there are a lot of young guys that look at the Sanderson Farms Championship as a huge opportunity for them, sometimes early in their career. And you've had a bunch of winners in the past who first won at Sanderson Farms and used that as kind of a springboard into their PGA Tour career.
Yeah, absolutely. We used to be a part of what the tour had called, the wraparound season. The FedEx Cup points would start right away in the fall. And because of that, the Korn Ferry Tour players were coming right off their playoffs and into the fall events. And now their playoffs have been pushed back a month, and the FedEx Cup season doesn't start till January. But I think, what you saw in the past was a lot of those Korn Ferry players earning their tour card, but coming off playing really hot. And so, Peter Malnati, Nick Taylor, Ryan Armour, Cameron Champ. So you've seen players like that when we were part of the wraparound. But still, I think you've got, at this point in the season, guys are scratching to, now it's 100 PGA Tour cards. And, it's tense. You heard players talk about it all week long, that it's not 125, it's 100. And now, the top 50, 51 through 60, at the end of the fall, get into those first two signature events next year. So, for some reason, we kind of coined ourselves as the launching pad a few years ago. And it's kind of still holding true to form, even though the season's not a wraparound anymore.
Yeah. Steve Jent, Executive Director of the Sanderson Farms Championship, just finished up yesterday, an incredible tournament week. I know there's lots of work to do in the aftermath of the tournament, turning the golf course back over to the members at the Country Club of Jackson and dismantling all the things. One of the things that you and I have talked about a lot in the past is just how well the golf course has handled the best golfers in the world, and the way they talk about the greens, I'm assuming this year was no exception.
Yeah, for some reason, just what Stanley Reedy and his staff have done, and just the way the Champions Bermuda out there and the time of year, there's very little grain to those greens. I know they've always said, a lot of the players said, these are the best Bermuda we play on all year. Some of the guys this week said they're the best greens they played on all year, no matter what the grass is. And they continue to say that this past week, and it's what a lot of players. It's a very fair golf course. It's right in front of you. It's if the wind gets up, it gets a little treacherous. It's a second shot course, and if you're going back several years ago, it's a course where Cameron Champ won one year and Ryan Armour won another year. So anyone can win on that golf course. It was fun. To see some of the bombers and some of the drives these guys hit, but in the end, it was a guy that grew up on his family's own little par 3 course with small elevated greens. So his short game and his putting, really made a difference and turned him into a champion. But they really all the players really enjoy the golf course.
I'm sure you've seen the video of Stephen Fisk shin deep in the swamp, with an alligator lurking just a few feet away. As the tournament director, does that make you nervous, or do you look at that and go, this is a viral moment for our golf tournament, and it's going to be great?
Yeah, I think it was Vince Whaley. Okay. I think it was Vince instead of Stephen. But
different guy.
I think it's I didn't see it till the replay later. Obviously, I don't know how fast those things swim. I think, I think go faster than what you think on land.
Faster than we do.
Faster than he obviously was okay with it and felt pretty good that he could get out of there if he thought there was any kind of danger. But I think that's kind of just a cool moment for our tournament to have that kind of the wildlife on the golf course and the interaction with the golfers. I mean, there's a video that still pops up every now and then of Cody Gribble in another tournament walking over and tapping an alligator on the tail. So, I thought it was kind of a cool moment for the tournament.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit different here. These are not domesticated alligators, right? They can slip off into the swamp of the Pearl River if they want.
They're back there in that area, that marshy area, kind of coming off the Pearl River, and trust me, I think there's enough other wildlife back there that they're well fed enough that they're not that aggressive. So
that's true.
I think they're sitting back there kind of fat and happy.
Yeah. Was attendance where you wanted it to be this week? You kind of struck gold with Mississippi State being on the road, Southern Miss and Ole Miss both having open dates. Did you get the numbers that you were hoping for?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, we looked out on Thursday, and I thought our Thursday crowd was bigger than I've ever seen a Thursday crowd, and earlier. Right? We kind of talk about how early people get out there. I mean, obviously Sunday on your championship day, people tend to come out later to watch the leaders. But I thought then our Friday crowd beat our Thursday crowd. I thought our Saturday crowd, you look out and you see everybody out there. So I certainly think it helped. And the fact that the Mississippi State game was at night,
right?
And Ole Miss was off, so they weren't. It wasn't a thing where everybody was trying to get out of the golf course to get home to watch the games. That everybody was like, hey, we can go out, enjoy it this weekend. And then the State game was at night, so it was. Yeah, the crowds were. I think the crowds were incredible all week. We really appreciate our fans coming out.
I believe the number is 72 charities, including Children's of Mississippi, that are supported by this golf tournament. We know about the legacy of giving that the Sanderson Farms Championship has. We know about the importance of this golf tournament to the state of Mississippi. I know you're tired of this question, so I'll try to ask it in a different way. Do we now just kind of sit and wait and hope for the best while people are working behind the scenes to try to ensure the future of this tournament?
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty fair assessment of it. Obviously we know how much it means to the community, and I appreciate all the hard work my staff and my board and everyone does that has allowed us to make this impact. A lot of my charities are our volunteer groups, so they're invested in it, right? And we know kind of what the tournament means to the community in terms of an economic impact. Hotels, restaurants, dining this week. I mean, it's a significant economic impact. But yeah, I think there's a lot up in the play. Wayne Sanderson Farms is still going to continue to be a good partner next year, helping us with our charitable efforts and kind of finish the 10-year run we announced several years ago.
Right.
But you're right. It takes one marquee sponsor to write that check, and we just haven't found that company yet. We've had some conversations, and so we're working hand in hand with the tour to see what can be done. But yeah, I think trust me, it's everyone should know it's in good hands. We're working hard to make it happen, and we hope we can get something across the finish line.
First for news, fast and free. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Taking a chance, risking it all for the thrill of the moment. Taking a stand, you ain't gonna fall. You've always known it. They're dying to shake you.
Good to be with you this morning. Thanks for joining us. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. Appreciate Steve Jent stopping by. Certainly coming off a busy week. He was kind enough to get up. It feels like this is a day where he should want to or be able to sleep in a little bit. At least we were able to chat with him in the 8 o'clock hour. So Stephen Fisk was the winner of the Sanderson Farms Championship, 2 shots clear of Garrick Higo. He shot a final round 64 to finish 24 under par for the week. and carried out a check for $1,080,000. The second place finisher, Higo, got $654,000. Three guys tied for third: Rasmus Højgaard, Vince Whaley, and Danny Walker at $318,000 apiece. And then it went down a little bit from there. Did you see that video, Lance, of the golfer hitting the shot from kind of the edge of the marshy area over on the back nine with the alligator? I don't know, 20 or so feet away.
I did not see that. No, but that sounds like duck hunting a little bit, you know.
Yeah, except the fact that it's not like 12 degrees.
No. I mean, they're active right now. If they haven't been eating, they're definitely looking to eat. So I'm glad that they have the Pearl River backwater in there. A lot of wildlife in there for them to nibble on.
There is a lot of wild. It's probably a tough place to be a small deer.
There was some report, and I don't know if it came from Lynn Posey or not, but I can't remember who put it together. I think it might have been wildlife. But the number of alligators in the Ross Barnett per like square whatever is the most anywhere.
Per square inch, maybe?
Like per square alligator.
By the way, my thanks to our friend Lynn Posey at the Mississippi Department
he's awesome.
of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks.
Send us some good stuff.
I got a package that was sent to the radio station here in Oxford. I picked it up last week that included a Mississippi field guide with all of the dates. He said, I heard you guys talking about dates for the hunting seasons, thought this might be helpful. Thank you, Lynn. Much appreciated.
I got the exact same package. I got the exact same packet, and he is such a good dude. He hand wrote us a note. You know, you don't get that too often, man. Thank you, Lynn. That was very nice of you.
Appreciate it very much. I'm not sure what the name is here on the C Spire text line, but a little bit of pushback on me saying that the potential cell network crashing through foreign interests. Last thing I said was scary. And he or she said emergency comms are on encrypted radio signals, not cell networks. It's not scary. And I responded, I said, actually, they do use cell networks for emergency communications, at least in part. Law enforcement, through systems like FirstNet, has priority access on those cell networks, especially in high traffic times. But to say that they have the ability to knock the entire cell network offline is not scary strikes me as just silly. And he responded, said, then why don't we report daily how the governments of the world could kill us all with nuclear weapons? There's no evidence of intent, so why is it the focal point of the story? The story is that a bot network was disrupted, and that's it. Botnets are annoying, but not scary. We use the same logic of a botnet being scary. No one should ever get a wink of peaceful sleep a la nuclear weapons.
Well, I mean, a bot, though, is there to gather information. And maybe it's there to annoy you and all that, but they're there to get info.
That's not what this was.
No, not. I'm just saying a bot, though. I mean, you can make it scary or not, but the key for most of that is there to grab information. I mean, that's what they're there for, to pretend to be human. So you give them stuff, and then they got it. So, I mean, that's what your bots are doing predominantly.
But the point of the story that we were talking about a bit ago was that what they thought was 100,000 SIM cards and the computer back-end setup to run them and cause them to operate at a breakneck pace was actually more like 300,000 SIM cards scattered through the tri-state area. And I don't think you've got to be a rocket scientist to put together that this is not just for making calls to home in China.
No.
This is...
It's an all-out attack. I mean, that's
the tools in place domestically to theoretically knock our cellular communications in the biggest city in the United States completely offline. And even if emergency responders still have the ability to communicate, what about the other 12 million people that live there? It would, without question, create a scenario of mass confusion and, in some cases, hysteria.
People would go lunatic crazy without their phone working for an hour, man. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, we can minimize that if you want, but the reality is people are going to go crazy.
People who are further jamming up the cell networks by trying to get online and trying to get access to information, but their ability to get that information through X or Facebook or local news channels or streaming audio or video, all of that is disrupted and disabled. Look, I'm not saying that in and of itself, the disabling of cellular networks and online communication is completely debilitating, but it's a step. It is a step toward chaos in what would likely coincide with some sort of an other coordinated attack. And I am the last person that you will find that is trying to just sow fear and sow nervousness and anxiety. I don't sit around looking over my shoulder all the time wondering, if the boogeyman's out to get me. That's not how I operate. It's not how I live. But to completely belittle or just say, oh, that doesn't matter, that's no big deal, that strikes me as a bit crazy as well.
Well, I would also think that on most of your millennials and, under 30, under 35, they're very connected to the phone, right? And that is generally college campuses and those right at. So you may not have as big a problem with those over 50 or 60, but I think you would have a major problem on college campuses and things of that nature, that where normal people are trying to get in touch with their children or they're trying to get in touch with their parents, finding out what's going on. So that craziness doesn't have to be widespread, but it can be very targeted to create a very deep impact. Yeah. Psychologically, it doesn't have to be some massive attack across the country. It's the psychological effect that if indeed you take down networks, who are the easiest people to influence? Well, I mean, college campuses would be a great target if you're looking at a soft target.
Yeah, but I mean, you say, okay, older people, are we going with the assumption, oh, they've still got landlines?
No, I don't mean it that way. I just don't think they're as dependent upon the communicative network, of social media, so to speak.
Well, maybe not. But in terms of getting their news, it's the easiest way for people to get their news.
Yeah.
It's not always accurate news, but it's news nonetheless. Yesterday, President Trump made a social media post about Hamas just minutes before the deadline for a peace proposal was passed. Last week, you had that 20-point outline of a framework deal between Hamas and Israel that was proposed by the United States and other world leaders signing off on it. The deadline for acceptance by Hamas was 6 o'clock Eastern yesterday. Trump wrote on Truth Social that there had been, quote, very positive discussions with Hamas and countries from all over the world, Arab, Muslim, and everyone else this weekend to release the hostages, end the war in Gaza, but more importantly, finally have long-sought peace in the Middle East, close quote. Trump did say that the talks have been successful and were proceeding rapidly, and that meetings would continue today in Egypt with technical teams to work through and clarify the final details. In speaking to reporters last night, Trump said we had some very good meetings, and it looks like it's working, so we'll wait for a little while and see how it all turns out. His post warned that violence could follow, though, if a deal is not reached. He said, I am asking everyone to move fast. I will continue to monitor this centuries-old conflict. And then followed it up in all caps with time is of the essence, or massive bloodshed will follow, something that nobody wants to see. Back on October 3rd, Trump posted, if this last chance agreement is not reached, all hell like no one has ever seen before will break out against Hamas. There will be peace in the Middle East one way or the other. Thank you for your attention to this matter. JT Mitchell news director with the SuperTalk Mississippi news team, will be along in our next segment, and he'll finish the show with us this afternoon. Alongside Lance, I'm Richard. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
From the Seabrook.
From the heart of Mississippi to the halls of Washington, D.C., this is Mornings with Richard Cross, your source for hard-hitting political insight and unfiltered truth. Now, here's more on Super Talk Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. Glad to be with you and glad to welcome aboard, as we do every Monday morning, JT Mitchell. He is the news director with the SuperTalk Mississippi news team. Hope you had a great weekend.
Yeah, man, I did. How are you, Richard?
Good. Great Monday morning, off start. A lot of news, a lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff going on, including elections in a month. 14 seats across the Senate and the House that are up for grabs in special elections. And honestly, JT, I feel like it's kind of snuck up on us. I know you have like alarms set in your phone reminding you, when we're a month out and 2 months out and 26 days out and all of those things. You keep up with them, but we had the primaries in August, and there were a few storylines, but not a lot of fanfare. And now we're a month away from special elections.
Yeah, we are. And there are 14 that were redesigned because of the federal court order. I will say that there technically will now be 17 seats on the ballot because John Horn is the mayor of Jackson, Orlando Payton is the mayor of Clarksdale, and then David Jordan in Greenwood is retiring. And so there's a lot. If you live in, the Hattiesburg, Chickasaw, DeSoto County, Jackson-Madison, Clarksdale, or Greenwood areas, you probably have an election to vote in on November 4th.
Okay. And worth noting, if you want to vote in those elections, today is the final day to register if you are not already registered.
That's right. And I guess now is my monthly PSA that you need to go get registered to vote. If you aren't, update your information if you moved. And if you are registered, make a serious effort to cast a ballot, whether that's on Election Day or if you're going to be out of town, if you're older than 65. If you live with a disability, you can vote now. You can go ahead and knock it out, whether it's in person at your circuit clerk's office or through the mail, through the absentee process. It's relatively easy to get it done, Richard. I mean, we sit here and we say the same stuff every single time there's an election, and I'll even offer it myself. If you need a voter registration form, if you need instructions on how to absentee vote, I will send it to you on the C Spire text line.
There you go. I mean, room service from JT Mitchell without the bill.
Well, it drives me insane. And here I am, a journalist. I'll go subjective for a minute. People that don't vote, you really can't complain. That's one of the main reasons I vote. So when I'm not working, I can at least complain. But at the same time, when we're really being honest, is one vote does matter, especially in these local elections. I mean, we oftentimes see these races get decided by 5, 10, 15, 20 votes. And so if you and 5 buddies said, hey, we like a candidate, we're going to make a conscious effort to go vote this year, you could change it. You really could.
Something that we talked about this morning with Douglas Carswell from Center of Public Policy and kind of talked about during our news as well. You get a story late last week that the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, is taking a pretty specific interest in some of these Mississippi races and is going to be throwing money at them in an unprecedented manner. I don't know the exact dollar amount, told 6 figures, which could be a big, big range, obviously, in terms of the investment. But we saw a little bit of this in Gulfport with the mayor's race between Hugh Keating and Stacey Barnes. Is that right? Stacey Barnes Williams?
Yes, Williams Barnes.
And that election ended up tighter than some people thought it was going to be. There were some that convinced themselves that Barnes-Williams or Williams-Barnes was going to actually win that race. She did not. She ended up losing by 6 points, but it was a little bit different than we've seen in the past.
It was, and yeah, 5 or 6 points, whatever it was, that's closer than previous elections in that city specifically. Okay? And I think you described it as a litmus test for the National Democratic Party. They invested some money down there. It didn't work all the way, but what would have happened if they invested a lot of money down there? And so they did announce last Thursday, the Democratic National Committee, that they're investing a six-figure number. Like you, I'd love to know what that is, because that can range anywhere between $100,000 and $999,000, right? There's a big gap there, but it's still a large number. And they are investing that money for the upcoming special legislative elections, November 4th. Once again, that's the date. Because you have 7 of those races will be contested with a Republican and a Democratic nominee. And they feel confident that with a little more outreach, a few more TV and radio ads, they can push the Democratic candidates across the line. And I think it's also worth noting that in the announcement for this, the DNC said, yes, we are putting ourselves out there to help during an off year in Mississippi. But at the same time, we're looking toward 2026. We're looking toward the midterms and to build some political infrastructure to maybe get Scott Colomb across the finish line if that's who they think can beat incumbent Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. They really do have a belief as of now that Mississippi has a chance to go from red to purple and then possibly blue.
Yeah, and to me, the fascinating thing with this, I did ask the question of, is this a litmus test in terms of spending money in deep red states? Is this just a function of timing, though, more than anything else? Is it the fact that it's not a presidential year, it's not a midterms year, this is an off-year election, special elections, and there aren't as many demands on DNC funds currently, and so, hey, let's throw it here and see what works.
In part, I do believe so. I also believe that there's a significant portion of the population in this state that would probably vote Democrat if they voted.
Yeah. So maybe it's get out the vote efforts because and drives and whatnot.
You and I, we sit here all the time and talk about how bad voter turnout is. Yeah. And it's bad on both sides. But I'll say in Mississippi that Republicans are much better at showing up to the polls than Democrats, no matter the election. And you talk about timing. It is probably smart timing if you're the DNC to get involved now, because there is no Donald Trump on the ballot. Donald Trump, for all he is, he's really good at getting people to the polls. You don't have him ever again. And so there is some good timing here for the DNC to invest in Mississippi, I think.
Yeah. Switching gears, we found out in the death of the Grenada High School student from a few weeks ago, some arrests have been made and perhaps more on the way, or more charges on the way at least.
I would definitely think more charges. As for more arrests, I'm not sure. But this is a tragic story. 16-year-old Aiden Reno. He was found on September 22nd in the area of Lee Avenue. And yeah, they have not released his official cause of death, to my knowledge at least, but it happened at the same time as a shooting. You can put one and one together. And they have made 4 arrests, some of whom are his classmates. And last week, 18-year-old Lamarian Henderson, 16-year-old Nicholas Brown, 15-year-old Zachariah Stewart, and 18-year-old Ryan Spencer were handcuffed. I even received a video of one of them getting locked up on campus during the school day.
Gosh.
It's terrible. And his mother, Reno's mother, has come out and said that her son was set up. I have enough sources on the ground up there to say that this is linked to gang violence. I can confidently say that. And Brown, everybody I've spoken to, Reno, all of my sources, they say he was a good kid. He played football. He was a member of the show choir program. He made good grades. And I don't know if he got caught up with the wrong group or what, but he died after 16 years. He died at 17. And so it's terrible. And we see this youth crime is running rampant.
You had arrest over the weekend in the killing of a former Germantown high school student in Gluckstadt as well.
Exactly. That's another example. That was Saleh Hamed, who was a 17-year-old. He went to Germantown. He withdrew earlier this year, I found out. But he was in Jackson, and he got shot and killed. 2 juveniles now in custody. I know we're coming up on a break, but youth crime, man, I have some numbers if you want to go through them afterward, that we're seeing a deadly, deadly year for people under the age of 20.
Really sad. We'll hit some of those numbers on the other side of this timeout. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. One segment left with you, with Lance and JT. I'm Richard. We're back right after this.
It's hard to be persistent when we're standing at a distance, so we keep waiting on the world to change.
From the heart of Mississippi to the halls of Washington, D.C., this is Mornings with Richard Cross, your source for hard-hitting political insight and unfiltered truth. Now, here's more on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Last time with you on this Monday morning, MRC on Super Talk Mississippi. JT Mitchell in our network studios in Jackson. You were talking about some of those youth crime statistics in Mississippi in 2025. Not a banner year.
No, it's not. And obviously it's not unique to Jackson. We just talked about a Grenada situation. But I am going to talk about Jackson for a minute. So CJ LeMaster over at WLBT, who is an absolute wizard when it comes to crunching numbers, he released a report last week that showed the overall number of homicides in the capital city. Yeah, it's down 41%. That's really good. But the number of teen killings has risen compared to recent years. So far this year, nearly 1 in 5 murders that happen in Jackson, on the other side of the gun, is somebody under the age of 20. So 10 teenagers have been killed out of the 55 homicides in Jackson so far this year. And that's already more than last year in its entirety. And then it's more than 23 in its entirety, I believe. And then we had a really deadly year in 2022 when 25 teenagers were killed in Jackson. So, yeah, it is good that homicides are down across the board. Fantastic. But that was disheartening to see that nearly 1 in 5 homicides is somebody younger than 20.
It's awful.
It is.
Just absolutely terrible. And I don't know if there's a single thing that you can point to, but lack of recognition of the preciousness of life is certainly one of those things.
No doubt. No doubt. So we can go to something happier now, Richard.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want to go to storytelling kiosks that are bouncing around Mississippi this week. We know that we've got the Great American Mississippi State Fair happening in Jackson, part of America's 250th birthday celebration. And what are these storytelling kiosks?
Richard, if you want to tell the world about what it's like to be an American named Richard Cross, you can do so this week. You can go to either Cleveland, Columbus, or stop down here in Jackson and get in front of one of these America 250 kiosks. There will be an interviewer on site. You'll have prompted questions, but you'll get to tell your side of what being an American is like, and that footage will be saved by the Library of Congress, and some of it will even be used next year when the official semi-quincentennial rolls around. It's just a fun opportunity. And I think a lot of people probably think that this year is the semi-quincentennial because everybody's celebrating over at the State Fair. There's blow-up bald eagles every other block, and there's red, white, and blue. You can't go anywhere without seeing it. But next year is actually the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence being signed.
1776 to 2026. Math checks out on that being 250 years. I guess it's because so many of these events will happen after the official birthday. We've kind of jumped the shark on birthday celebrations regardless. I mean, they are week-long celebrations. In some cases, they're month-long celebrations. Now we're celebrating, 8-9 months in advance, but I guess it's just a matter of convenience.
Oh, man. Well, I hope that doesn't become a trend for humans, because we're already doing week-long birthdays at my house. I don't need an 8-9-month-long birthday celebration.
Is that to celebrate your birthday?
No, that's to celebrate my better halves.
Okay.
But
she deserves it.
Yeah, she absolutely does. But this week, if you want to get in front of the storytelling kiosk that are part of the Our American Story campaign, on Thursday at the Grammy Museum, that's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. On Friday at the Tennessee Williams Home and Visitor Center from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. In Jackson, the two Mississippi Museums on Saturday from 2:30 to 6. And, of course, as fitting as it is, there will be a kiosk at the State Fair as well.
We have a statewide tornado drill that is coming up on Wednesday morning. Yes?
Yes. So here is your forewarning. If you hear sirens and are told to hunker down in your place of work on Wednesday at 9:15, it is a drill. I promise. I hope, at least. But no, it's part of Fall Severe Weather Preparedness Week. We brought it up last week about how severe weather is not constrained to hurricane season or tornado season. Last year alone, we saw 54 tornadoes in November and December in Mississippi. Be prepared. Go to supertalk.fm to find out how.
Just need it to hurry up and get cold.
I mean, you both, man.
I mean, if you're ready for that.
I'm so ready.
We get to November, December, and it's back and forth between warm and cold, and the skies start fighting themselves, and sometimes it gets kind of ugly. Thanks, JT. Always appreciate the time.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Lance.
Be sure to check out supertalk.fm for all of your Mississippi news. The SuperTalk Mississippi news team does a great job. Lance, thank you, sir.
See you in the morning, bro.
We'll see you tomorrow. Back with you, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. Have a great Monday.
And this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.